Well, hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Eek Acres. In this video, I'm going to talk about something that's going to sound very, very strange to you. It's going to sound very strange, and a lot of you probably are not going to understand this at all. When I tell people about this, they just look at me like a deer in the headlights. They really don't understand what I mean, what I'm talking about. And it's something that happened a lot of years ago, and it has never left me. It's a permanent side effect, of lack of a better word. It resulted from a surgery that I had back in 2014. And I had this surgery done by a doctor that was new to me in a hospital I had never been to before. Everything about it was new to me. And during the surgery, long story short, my heart stopped. And they ultimately had to use paddles to jumpstart my heart, to bring me back, to get a pulse again. I flatlined. And I found out it was the result of a new anesthesiologist that caused it. They didn't get the mixture right, and they gave me too much. And it stopped my heart. And I've done a video about this, and I can't remember if it's still on my channel. It should still be on my channel. But I did a video about that experience because the second that my heart stopped, I no longer occupied this vessel, this body. And I immediately, and I mean it, as fast as snapping my fingers, I was immediately in a different reality, a different dimension. And it was nothing like Earth, like here. Now, there's a lot of people that find the subject of death or near-death experiences fascinating. I do myself. I've watched a ton of them over the years because I've always been interested in the subject. But what I want to talk about is something that I never hear anybody talk about this. In any of the videos that I've watched regarding near-death experiences where somebody's heart had stopped and they had an out-of-body, otherworldly experience, and regardless of what that experience was and what they saw and felt and so on, I've never heard anybody talk about the effects after they came back. Now, when I was brought back, I heard two things. The first thing I heard was from the nurse that was right next to my bed. She said, "He's awake." To the other nurse that was at the foot of my bed. And the nurse that was at the foot of my bed hurried up the side of my bed and leaned over the bed rail and said to me, "Honey, we had a hard time bringing you back. An awfully hard time." That's what she said. And the jump cart was right next to me, and the paddles were all in disarray because they just got done shocking me. And I'm not going to go into all the details on how excruciatingly painful that was to have that done to me. I mean, a pain that is off the charts. It's just off the scale of 1 through 10. But the thing that was the strangest is that when I came back to my body, I was looking through an opening that was about the size of a manhole cover out in front of me. You know, maybe 3-4 feet away, round, about the size of a manhole cover to a sewer. And around this outer perimeter was it was like smoke, black and gray smoke that was like billowing, rolling. but it wasn't going out and away, and it wasn't going into the center of the circle. It was just like imagine like a round clear tube in a circle, and it has smoke inside the tube. It was just rolling within itself. And I'm looking through this opening, and at first everything was blurry, and then all of a sudden my eyesight became crystal clear, and I saw the nurses that were next to my bed right before I went back into my body. And then I opened my eyes, and now I was looking at these nurses from the body's perspective, laying in the bed. Whereas before, I was laying here, and I'm up here, and I'm looking at an angle down at the nurses through this opening. It was like a portal. And this is what I came back through to go back to my body from this other dimension I was in. And it doesn't really matter to me if people believe the experience that I had in that video that I did. But what I wanted to mention in this video that I don't ever hear anyone talk about, or I've never had anyone talk about it to me in person. I've never heard anyone talk about it on YouTube, anywhere. The one thing that changed permanently since I was brought back, and has never left me to this day, and I go through this every day, is the awareness of gravity. It doesn't matter how much I weigh. Compared to where I was, being light as smoke, to where I am now, I feel extremely heavy, like I'm made out of lead. The pull of the earth that keeps us all connected is so heavy that it wears me out every day. I literally feel tired and exhaustion from gravity. And I know that sounds odd, but it's the honest to God's truth, you guys. My body aches constantly. I am in pain every single day because of my joints, my arm, my hands, and I have to take painkillers just to get some sleep. Every night. You can ask Bridget. She sees the pain pills that I have to take just to get to sleep. It's painful even to lay on my left side. I'm going to be going in next week for an MRI. I finally found a hospital that will do it sooner than the other one that wanted to wait till next month to see what the hell is wrong with my arm. But the thing that affected me the most out of this entire experience that happened back in 2014, that if I would have to say is a downside to having a near-death experience, is being aware of gravity every day. How heavy I feel. Every step that I take, it feels like my body is just pounding on the ground with every step. When I lay down in bed, I notice how heavy my body feels as it sinks into the mattress. When I sit down, I notice how heavy my body feels when I sit in a chair and what it takes to keep me upright, to support myself. This may sound very bizarre, but I am telling you guys the God's honest truth that when I died and I came back, I have never been able to lose the overwhelming sensation of noticing the gravitational pull of this earth. I have never been able to go back to the way I was prior to my heart stopping during that surgical procedure in 2014. It has been with me ever since. And it tires me out because I'm just consciously aware of it all the time. And the more that I notice it and dwell on it, the more tired I become. And unless you know exactly what I'm talking about or have been through the same thing, you're not going to really understand what it's like. You have no idea what it's like. And it's the strangest damn thing. And all it does is it makes you want to go back to what you experienced being as light as smoke, like a vapor. No physical body, still having all your senses and all your faculties, the ability to have thought and to think and to see and hear and experience, but being able to do all that without the physical body, as in soul form, was the absolute coolest, most comfortable, relaxing, wonderful feeling. I can't even put it into words. I just literally could not convey to you in the English language what that's like. It is something everybody would have to experience for themselves, and you would be blown away on how good you feel. And then I came back into this body, and not only did I have the pain from what I had done surgically, but then I gained more pain by them using the paddles on me, so I was in absolute agony. I mean, agony that was off the charts. And I was angry as could be that they brought me back. I knew they would bring me back. I was aware that my heart stopped. I was aware that I was dead, that I died. Because when your heart's not beating, you're dead. I don't care how you slice it. You're dead when your heart stops. And I knew that's what happened. I knew I was dead. I knew something went wrong. I didn't know what went wrong. I just knew something went wrong. And the first thought I had in my head was, something went wrong. They'll fix it. That's what I said to myself. Those exact words. Something went wrong and they'll fix it. I knew they would fix it. I had all the confidence in the world that they would correct it. I wasn't concerned in the least bit being dead or where I was. But I was in that pure white matrix room that a lot of people talk about in near-death experiences. That's exactly where I went. To one of those brightly lit, pure white matrix rooms. And there was 3 other beings in the room with me, but they were translucent. When you looked at them, you could see them, but you could see through them, and they didn't have any features of any kind. It was just like, it's like the opposite of a silhouette. It was a silhouette, but a bright silhouette versus a dark silhouette. Same thing, just lighter. And I could see right through them. And they all 3 were of the same height, the same size. I had no idea who they were. And then when the hallway opened up at the foot of my bed, and I'm looking straight down my body as I'm laying in a bed with my head on a pillow, and I saw this man coming down this hallway, walking swiftly towards me. I have no idea who he was. I assumed it was my dad. But I never got to see him from the waist up. I just saw his legs, and that's why I thought it was my dad, because my dad was a double amputee, and it was putting emphasis on his legs, like, look at this man's legs, notice this man's legs. And he was wearing a suit. And he was walking swiftly towards me out of this dark hallway. Hopefully it was something friendly and not somebody coming to drag me off to hell. I don't know. But this matrix room is where I went immediately upon my heart stopping. The 3 other beings in the room with me walking past the foot of my bed, and then this hallway opened up, and then this man started approaching me from this hallway like he was expecting me. And I'll never forget it so long as I live. But not only was I angry that they brought me back, because I did not want to come back to this world. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, before I went through that portal, the entry back into this world, and I saw those nurses from above my bed, before I actually got back into my body, this world from that point of view, looking down through this opening, was the dirtiest, filthiest, nastiest looking place that you could imagine. And it looked that way because from the other side, this place is an unclean, dirty place. And I recognized that, viewing it through that portal opening before I went through it, coming back into this world, and therefore waking up back in my body. And I was mad as hell that they brought me back. I did not want to come back. For anything, I did not want to come back. But the one thing that has never left me since that day in 2014 when I died during that surgery is how heavy this body feels. Lugging this body around. It feels like your soul has had cement poured over it and it has to carry around all this cement on it. That's what being back in your body feels like. It's the best damn description I can give you. And every day I'm aware of it. Every single day I notice it, feel it, and experience it. And your body's heavier than you can imagine. If you ever go through a similar experience like I had, you would see exactly what I'm talking about. And you'd say, my God, he's right. You'd feel the same way. But that is what proved to me that we live beyond this physical world, beyond this physical body. That when the body dies, the soul does not. It separates, it detaches, and it goes on. Like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon. It goes on. It was an amazing experience. And I don't know when I die for good someday if the experience will be the same, or if I'll end up in the same place, or if it will be different. I have no idea. All I know is I experienced what I did at that time. That's where I went. A room that was lit. The walls, the ceiling, the floor, everything was pure white. Like the background screen on a computer. When you turn your computer on, that bright white that's behind all the icons and everything on the screen. If you just look past that stuff and just look at the white on the screen, that's how the walls and everything looked. The whole room was alive. Because in the afterlife, there is no death. Everything is alive. Even things that aren't alive in this world, like walls and floors and ceilings, and everything is living in the afterlife. There is no death. When you think about building a house, what do you build it out of? Dead wood. Lumber. It's dead wood. But at one time, that wood was alive. Well, things that are built in the afterlife are built with things that are still living. And it illuminates that life that is given to it by God. And that's why the room was lit up, because it wasn't constructed with dead materials. The room was living. But this gravity thing is annoying. Getting in and out of a vehicle, sitting down, standing up, laying down, every single day, every waking second of my life, I feel the effects of gravity. And it is exhausting. Exhausting. Let me know if you guys heard anyone ever talk about the same thing, or if any of you ever experienced the same thing, because I'd surely like to know. Because up until the making of this video, I haven't heard anyone talk about this very thing of coming back from the other side regarding the effects of gravity. Thanks for watching, you guys, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.